It was a name of in Florida and they lost it.
But I did have to look at the name tags just to make sure. No, so I think where I've been. What are you up to lately, George?
I am up to my.
Are you?
Things, yes.
Fun stuff or just?
Partially, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good morning. Good morning. So I can tell you that Eric had an emergency with his dog this morning. He said he would try to be here. Told him it was a pretty important meeting. He said he'd come in late. He's leaving the house now, be here in a few. So I guess we should take a roll call. Is that the first thing to do? I do not have, did we get the packets, the agenda packets?
They went yesterday, yeah.
Well, not everybody has access to that.
Emails? Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
I do, trying to, and then I have. John, can I get one? Yes. Yeah. Ask for.
It's paper.
I guess we should do a roll call, please. Turn your mic on. We're doing a roll call just
Here.
Jerry Good here.
John Gamelke here.
David Mihatis here.
George Jones here.
Sarah Salazar here.
And Eric Jones is on his way. Jerry, would you lead us in a pledge of allegiance, please?
Sure.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Turn your mic on, please.
I want to discuss a little bit about getting the Mary Jo Larson. I went and talked to her after I talked with you about the grant. And I just like to bring up somewhere in here, add to it a little topic I just want to talk about.
Okay. Maybe we can do it on the reports,
Okay.
or with unfinished business. Where do you think it fits, Jerry? How about we just do it under the reports after the,
Okay.
is that all right?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so as you can see, we have a few new members. We have John Hugh, and would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and who you are in Woodland Park, please?
My name's John Hugh, obviously. We own Joni's, and believe it or not, today has been a year since we got into this town, so we're very excited about that.
Thank you.
We moved to Woodland Park. We love it here. We're right in the center of town and look forward to working with everyone here in town. Thank you.
I can tell you that as a business owner, John just pulled an all-nighter. He went to bed at 5:30 and I woke him up at 6:45, reminding him of the meeting, and he's here. So thank you, John. And to him, he says, that's just business. So, amen. And then Sarah, would you introduce yourself, please, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Sarah Salazar. My husband and I own a utility construction company. We contract with Core Electric. My husband has lived here 30 years. I'm from Colorado Springs, and 2 years ago, I finished a master's in architecture, and I have been a city planner for DOLA, Department of Local Affairs. So I have some tools and some great things I think I can bring to Woodland Park. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. I think it's rather interesting, just a personal note, that I read a comment somewhere on, I unfortunately read fake book, and it said that there was no women on the DDA, and then a woman applied, and so I was kind of happy about that. I was like, yay, so so we're not just we're not just men exclusive here, so. We've had women on previous, so. All right. I would ask Al if he saw the minutes and had any, but can we get so just so we know, so Al neglected, we didn't know, and perhaps I should have been a little bit more on top of it. Arden Weatherford and Al were up for reelection or reappointment from the council, and neither one knew, and they did not apply on time. Alborn has reapplied, and I'm not sure about Arden Weatherford. He said he would get back to me. We would like to have them both back on, and we really appreciate all that they add to it. So, hello, Eric. So does anybody have anything to say about the agenda, the approval of the minutes from the June 3rd meeting? Jerry, no? Yeah. So I asked that we would approve that, so we'll take a vote to approve the meetings from June.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the consent agenda as noted.
I'll second.
John, we're taking a vote on the minutes.
Yeah.
So, would John not?
Actually, yeah, no, he won't, since he wasn't here for the
Okay.
meeting.
Jerry?
Yes. Yes.
Melky, yes.
Miharis, yes.
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
She was, it's okay, yeah. Is there any public comment on matters that are not on the agenda? Nobody has anything? Mhm. Any unfinished business? I have written none. All right, so I don't see a place in here for Tyler, do I? There it is, under new business, okay. All right, so I guess this is the part where we go to election of new board officers. I have not done this before. Would you, and so when you talk, just make sure, John, that you turn your mic on, okay? So how does this work?
So we're gonna have 4 positions. There's the secretary, treasurer, the vice chair, and the chair. Let's go ahead and just start with the secretary. There'll be a nomination, so you'll nominate one of your board members. And then there would be a vote on that. And if that person is nominated and voted in, then we would move to the next position.
Just for a matter of record, Al Bourne has been our secretary for a long time, and he has reapplied, and I'm under this, I don't know for sure, but I'm under the assumption that he will be approved again by city council. Is that a position that we have to appoint today that we need, or, and then if we did appoint somebody, could we shift that around at a later date?
So it is a position that is needed to be filled, especially because the secretary attests to any agreements that are signed by the chair. If it's a temporary fill, basically if there's a unanimous or, pretty much everyone is agreement for Al, once he's appointed again to become secretary, then you could hold another vote if the board is all in agreement of doing that. But at this time, we do need to have the secretary position filled.
That being said, I nominate Eric Cabrera for secretary.
So isn't your treasurer?
Currently.
You want out?
Whatever's for the good of.
Well, what's needed? I guess, how about I just take myself?
Secretary, I can do secretary for, until Al comes back.
Okay.
If that makes it easier for everybody.
It does.
Okay, so,
Can we self-nominate? He just
Can.
did. Okay.
all right, and then you would go to the vote.
Cabrera, yes.
Good, yes.
Hugh, yes.
Gamelki, yes.
Mihatis, yes.
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
Thank you.
And next is treasurer.
Well,
Yes, please.
all right, I nominate myself
Or,
for treasurer.
or you could do the vice chair. But we need a treasurer.
We need a treasurer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Eric Cabrera is nominated as treasurer. Go for a vote.
Hugh, yes.
Good, yes.
Gamelki, yes.
Mihatis, yes.
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
And next is vice chair.
Just stepping up for that one.
And the vice chair just fills in for the chair when the chair is not available for a meeting, pretty much.
Can we hold off until Mr. Bourne comes back?
We can, I mean, but everyone is here. It's usually best to have all offices filled.
I nominate Jerry Good for vice chair.
I'm not very professional, so.
Join the
you can
crowd.
Tolerate that.
I don't know them very well, but I don't think many of us are.
Okay.
Hugh, yes. Cabrera, yes.
Mihatis, yes.
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
Yeah,
There you
fine.
go, Jerry.
Good for you, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay, Jerry Good is vice chair, and then nomination for chair.
I nominate John Gamelki. Hugh, yes.
Good, yes.
Cabrera, yes.
Mihatis, yes.
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
Thank you.
All right. And so John Gamelki is chair. Thank you, everyone.
Mark, Mr. Weaver,
Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
morning.
Oh, yeah, that's all. Morning, everybody. Big week, a lot going on in this town. Has anybody noticed all the traffic that's going up and down the pass, even in the middle of the week? So it's hot down in the Springs. That means people come up here to cool off, that sort of thing. So for Tava construction, I can get down into specifics if you guys would like that. Ladies and gentlemen would like that. The fireplace stack is complete. The elevator shaft will be finished next week. The roofing over the event center part has been completed. The framing on the second floor, which is a big step for us, has started. The flooring's been done. But the framing for the walls, that sort of thing, that's going to go on this week, next several weeks for that. And the grease trap will be finished and installed to the utilities later this week. Probably next week when that actually happens. So it's moving. Are y'all going by and looking at it and checking it out?
Yeah, it's growing. Yeah.
It's just amazing. This is good weather. You know, we get rain, seems like every afternoon, but this is good construction time. So that's my report on construction, Chair. I do have one other thing I need to point out, if I may.
Yes, sir.
You know, we applied for some grant funds to help offset all the expenses for CDOT. That was probably a couple of months ago now, and we are withdrawing that request for grant funds.
Are you going to approach a TIF deal now, or what
We'll-
does that look like for you guys?
We'll consider that.
Okay,
We'll consider that. But the grant funds is off the table now.
all right. What's it looking like for the event on July 5th? How's that
Ooh.
stacking up for you?
It's moving along pretty good. We need some more ticket sales, so talk it up to people around you. It's a busy weekend. There's a lot of other things going on up and down the Front Range. So we think people are watching the weather and then considering their options, and then we'll get a flood of people. So there'll be several thousand people here for this event.
It usually takes a year or two to get established and get the word out.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It should be great fun though, y'all. Michael Martin Murphy, some of y'all are too young to know who he is, but he's fantastic. And Ned Ledoux, he's great. All of them are great, Grimes. So I
Well,
hope you all can be there. That,
I'll be there.
cool.
Thank you.
You bet.
Anything else? Anybody have any questions for Mark while he's up here?
Mark,
Yes,
I
sir.
know that council granted, I think, sort of an extension, if you will, in the evening for you to construct. Are you guys taking advantage of that, or is it just not necessary?
I don't think that they're having to do that. There's not that much of a press right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that was extended till, was that not 9 or 10 o'clock? Yeah. We're still on track for a March opening
Okay,
of next year.
so we've been telling everybody.
Uh-huh.
And you think realistically that's a
Mhm.
doable goal,
It is.
even with all the CDOT?
We'll start, that's a great question. So we've got to, that's a whole other thing, is we've got to get the bid package out for CDOT improvements so that we can select a company, so that we can start construction hopefully in August, first half of September.
And I'm not trying to open up a can of
Go.
worms, but how's it going with the, because I know there's been some pushback from the Bergstrom Park. What does that look like in your, how does that work out in what you're doing?
We're aware there's all kind of reimagining conversations going on. We've given our input, but it's a city property and it's belongs to, the Historical Society is going to have a lot to say about it, and Parks and Rec, I would assume. And we are absolutely fine with whatever is decided to do there. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure the progress on it.
Correct.
Aaron know more about that.
So is there a deadline from City Parks and Rec on when they will have? Because if it drags out, if I'm only thinking out loud here, if it drags out for 6 months, that would definitely put you guys off on your getting the work done, correct? And pushes in the winter for CDOT, or for the improvements on the road? What does that look like?
No, it doesn't affect it.
It's not gonna mess with, so there's nothing that city explain. Okay. Okay, great.
I think that the imagining, tell me if I'm wrong, here, is working inside the box set by the CDOT requirements.
Okay, okay,
Yep, that's it. Thank you, Doug. Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Mark.
All right.
Okay, so now the grant program. So it has come up. This is about you for the donut mill. So would you like to say what's going on with that? And then also Josh said that we need to have something in writing too submitted.
Okay.
Okay. So do you want to explain that?
So we applied for the grant and was granted a grant, and we appreciate that. We were gonna originally use it to repave the parking lot. It needs to be done to get a contractor in there in the time frame that we needed to work outside the regular business hours. Because those of you who don't know the Donut Mill parking lot, it's probably the worst parking lot in the city.
So to do any kind of work in it is extremely difficult. So we found a better use for those funds would be to paint the exterior of the building to get in line with what the majority of the businesses are doing on Main Street. So what I would like to ask is if I could reallocate those funds to use for painting instead of paving.
And so you would make that request as you just did in front of the board. Is there an estimate on the cost for the? paint?
It's about, the estimate that I got is between 7,000 to 7,800.
Okay. So what we would just need is for the board to actually vote on changing the parameters of your project. And if they vote to approve that, then I can go ahead and send out a notice of award that can basically forms to what you've asked.
Okay.
So, and since you've made that request now on the record in front of everyone and the board's aware of that request, we could go ahead and have a motion to amend the project as approved to allow for the painting with the estimated cost of the 7,000 estimated, which would still be the $5,000 grant award.
Okay.
So if someone wants to move to approve the amended project as stated here today.
I move to approve the amended project as stated today.
And then a second,
I'll second.
and then we can start with
Hugh, approve.
Good, approve.
Gamelki, yes, approve.
Miharis, yes.
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
okay, so I'll go ahead and update our records.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Project change. Got it.
There's an update on grant agreements received, city staff.
Welcome to our new members. I'm Kimberly Burleson. I'm the budget director here at the city. And some exciting updates for you guys. We do have 11 grants that have not been signed by the grant recipient yet. So we are still working on getting those. John, I have yours to sign today.
Thank you.
We have 9 that have been signed and the projects are in progress. We have 13 fully executed ones and 2 projects that have been completed. One, you do have a check request to sign today. It is completely completed. We have received the final grant documents. And one that we just got turned in today, but we're waiting for a few of the items to be in compliance with the final report. And then that check request will be ready for you guys for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are those the ones that from Ron?
Yes.
That's two different projects. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. So is it going as well as you, is it going as well as you had thought?
Yeah. Given the parameters of what we said, the length of time they had to complete the project for those outstanding grant agreements that we haven't gotten signed. So that's gonna be a big push this week to get those completed, from the applicants.
Okay. Do we need to go rattle some doors and knock on some doors?
We
Okay.
may need to. Just don't wanna get down to a point where it's cutting their time frame to get their project done too close
Okay,
and having to bring, that many extensions to you guys.
sure. I can tell you on mine, I'm just waiting for my windows to come in. I've already ordered them, so anyway, yeah. Let me know, cause I don't mind if I need to take some time, I'll make some phone calls or go talk to some people if I need to. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Is that it on that then?
Yes, thank you, Don.
Yes, ma'am. Is that it? Final report review Woodland Park Professional Building. And you just went over that, correct? And you need to sign that? Is that what you're saying? Is that why that's on here? Okay.
Yeah, and did you have a copy of it for them? Then the report and stuff?
Yes, it was filed in here.
Okay, so this wasn't actually sent out with the packet.
Right.
but I can go ahead, I'm gonna give it to y'all. So this is a final report that Woodland Professional Building gave to us. It basically outlines what they did. It shows that the improvements have been done. It allows us to see the pictures, so we can see the before pictures that they gave us, plus these after. So it's really a record evidence showing that they've done the work themselves. And then they also provided us the receipts for the actual costs that they spent. So I can go ahead and just pass this down so you can see what they've done. And basically, the final report is your way of confirming that they've actually completed the project per the application and spent the funds. And then once you approve that final report through a motion, then we can go ahead and have the funds be reimbursed to them for the grant amount.
Okay.
Okay. So once everyone's been able to take a look kind of at that and see it, you would do your motion to approve the final report for Woodland Professional Building.
I was up there this weekend for Cars and Coffee on Saturday and work is done and it looks nice.
And we do have the receipts that show that they paid in full the amount that they said that it was going to be, which was above the 5,000.
Not very.
Yeah.
It's like a cub.
It's not meant to be a scary.
So,
No.
so Josh, with Eric's, we had application number 31. Which application number was this?
4.
Okay.
It would be enough though, if somebody was driving by, they would look and be like, look, there's a cup. Oh, it's just a statue.
Yeah, I drove by and I noticed it and I barely noticed it.
Barely.
Really? Is that a pun intended?
I guess I'm not that clever, John. I just want to see the cost.
Oh, that's what.
That's why it costs so much to wait there. Oh.
Where is the bear physically? Where
It's
is-
near the street.
Is
When
it
you
closer
look,
to
yeah,
the-
it's closer to the road.
Where they put the banners typically?
It's off that in the gravel,
Oh,
more towards the building. It is visible.
okay.
Yeah. If I were gonna put a bear, I'd want one that's, but the person who is.
So we're just waiting for a motion.
Yeah, so it would be a motion to approve the final report and the disbursement of the grant funds.
So I move we approve the final report for Woodland Park Professional Building application number 4 for disbursement of the
Grant funds.
grant funds, yeah.
And then a second,
A second.
and then you can go ahead and go through a vote.
Hugh, yes. Good, yes. Cabrera, yes.
Kamelki, yes.
Mijares, yes.
Jones, yes.
Sarah, yes.
Yeah. Have people noticed some of the improvements around town
Absolutely.
already? Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of work going
We
on.
tried.
Even you noticed?
I did whenever I was driving, although I've also been a little intimate with all 33 applications. So I'm
Yeah.
able to see what's happening and be like, oh, I can see they're moving forward.
Thank you. Okay, so I have to read this, I guess. Resolution for Series 2025, a resolution of the board approving the award of a grant to the city of Woodland Park to defray costs paid by the city in connection with the city's contract with Logan Simpson for consultant services on the city's reimagining Burston Park master plan project. And
And I have that one.
what's
So,
the amount on that, please?
so y'all actually approved last October a not to exceed award of 25,000.
That's what.
But it's actually 50% of the actual cost of the city, not to exceed 25,000. Right now, the contract is 49,000 and change. It's actually on a services-based expense. So there's a fee schedule that is part of the contract, and it'll be billed on a monthly basis. And the way that the resolution is drafted right now says that once the services are completed, the city would be able to bill the DDA for half their costs, but not exceeding 25,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also the resolution requests that city council approve amending your budget to add in the 25,000 appropriation of funds. And technically, there's not really a motion to approve the
Right.
resolution.
It's already been approved.
You've already approved it. I'm just putting it on here so that way everyone's aware that we're putting it into an actual paper form for tracking purposes,
Thank you, Josh.
of course.
Any public comment? No? Is there anybody on Zoom? Anybody have any comments? No public comment? Okay, thank you. Board chair report. Well, I'd like to thank Arden Weatherford for his time spent on the board. I would hope that he would come back, but I haven't heard one way or the other. Thank you, Al Bourne, for serving, and thank you for reapplying. I would assume that you would get reappointed. I don't want to assume, but I would hope so. So we hope you'll come back. Thank you, John, for saying yes, and thank you, Sarah, for saying yes. Welcome. I'm very excited to see, as one of the business owners on the main stretch, to see the improvements. The antique store has been painted, Steve's paint got repainted. I was hoping, a little side note, I was hoping there would be, that the Voss building would take advantage of getting painted, but they did not, so that's fine. I really appreciate you guys backing us up on all this. It's been good, and I know we're gonna see more improvements. So you have some improvements coming up too, don't you? Some stuff coming up?
Waiting
Yeah.
on windows.
Yeah, amen. All right. That's pretty much all I've got. Treasurer report?
Yep, we got a bill for legal representation. In the amount of $11,920.25. This was approved by Chair and myself as the sitting secretary. I have this to turn into you, and that's it. That's all we got was the secretary report.
Thank you. It's it should go down a little bit. It's obviously cost us quite a bit to make sure that we got this grant program in place and properly. And should we do the grants again, which I don't know why we wouldn't, I would hope we would, we'll talk about it. It should be less because we've got more in place now, so we have some reference to run off of. So it's been kind of expensive, but I want to make sure that none of us got any kind of trouble. Keep it all above board. So thank you very much to you and Marcus for doing this for us. We appreciate it.
I'd just like to add, John, this guy doesn't like to take credit, but he spearheaded that whole thing. And the amount of comments that I just get on how good Woodland Park is and how it looks like it used to is because of you.
No, it's because of.
I know we all had our small part in it, but I commend you for that. And I appreciate it when I drive up, and as a historic business owner, to hear that people are coming back because it looks like it used to is pretty impressive. So thank you.
Thank you. I've heard some of the same comments, so. It's interesting, I was working on Ron's building and putting in a door for him. And people were coming up and saying how beautiful it looked in with all the paint, and they're like, we really like seeing this from the locals, so. I've heard that too, so thank you. All right, Jerry, how about your time for board member reports? You said you had something you'd like to bring up?
Well, first off, I totally agree. I took a stroll up the street the other day and I was set back by how impressive it looks. I understand the guy that owns the carpet place, he's a painter or something. Is he one's that's doing the painting on several of the buildings?
No.
Oh. Well, whoever it is doing a good job. And anyway, my comment is, I had a discussion with one of the businesses that had filed for a grant and is not performing because they're concerned about not having funds available to carry them until they receive the check. How does that work? Is it possible that they can, that the contractor could just collect directly from the monies, or does it have to go through? Anyway, how do we work around getting this person to, they need their building painted very badly. And it's right in the heart of downtown and it needs to be done. But they just don't have the funds available to front the cost of it. So how do we make it work?
So we did discuss that as an option of passing through to the contractor, and at this very moment, I don't remember offhand which way we ended up going. What I can do though is definitely look back at the program and the documents to see if that's a possibility, and then we can work on setting up a pass through, basically where once the work is completed, the board would approve the final report and then a reimbursement payment to the contractor. But it's not, what would be off the table would be the board giving the funds for them to then use it for the work. Because it has to be a reimbursement, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the work has to be done first and then reimbursed. That's the only way we can really control the financial, fiduciary duties of the DDA when it comes to the public funds.
Well, it seems to me, with the backing of the city, the DDA and all, that a contractor would feel comfortable in performing before being paid, knowing that he's going to get paid. So anyway, I just have a concern that somebody that really this is the kind of thing is targeted for, isn't using it simply because it's just, they're tight right now. So let's figure out, make it happen. Well,
And which application is it?
the Cowham.
Okay, this is the Callahan. All right.
I'm the one that actually brought it up to Jerry. Cause I approached Mary and asked her how it was going, cause she had a kind of an open-ended on hers. It was to get a bid. I remember that. So she didn't even have a specific number in there when she applied for the grant. So we were gonna look at it. She had to turn that in. I remember that part.
Okay.
And I can tell you that it's gonna be more than 5,000 to paint that monster. That's a big building for sure.
Yeah.
So she would still, so my concern would be, they would still have to come up with more money from their end on top of the 5,000. 5,000 would go towards part of it, but it's going to cost, I can tell you, it's gonna cost more. has
Yeah.
she thought about that? Cause I know
Well,
it was a funds
Yeah,
dispute for them.
well, and my conversation was brief, but she implied that at least the facade of the building, the front of it
Just to the front,
and all,
maybe.
that she realizes that she can't afford to do the whole
I
building
understand.
right now.
Okay.
So, but I think that would drastically improve the look.
Okay, wheels are
It's
spinning.
it's gonna start to get a little convoluted, because typically contractors will require a down payment as well. Right?
Yeah,
So,
that's why I'm wondering if,
yeah.
you know, given the fact that
Material.
there's guaranteed money.
I don't know. I don't want us touch base with her, see if it can move forward.
I mean, maybe part of the discussion is what, anticipated timeframe, Josh, and turnaround from project request to payment, just a rough guess, because I think that's probably part of the discussion with the contractor.
Well, let's see, yeah, it's approved at your meetings.
It would
basically.
just be, if they finished, a week before our meeting, it would be approved at the next meeting type thing.
Yeah, the way that the grant agreement is written is they're supposed to provide the final report, which includes all of the documents needed at least 7 days in advance of your next meeting for us to basically review it and then get it in as part of the packet. If they give it to us in less than 7 days and we have the time, then, we'll get it in there. But basically at each meeting, just as you approved Woodland professional building today
Okay.
is when it would happen.
And the check would be covered in 7 to 10 days of the approval, so.
I think,
2 weeks-ish, best case.
yeah, which would be within the contractor's typical, window for payment.
Mhm.
So I'll go ahead and take a look at that and see what we can do from the program standpoint.
And would that just be a case by case basis, Josh? I don't know that it's something that, or if we do this for Calhan, would we therefore in the future have to do it for others? And is it going to create kind of another logistical, a lot more work for us up front?
Those are great questions. I'm gonna check into the grant program and to how we've written the grant agreement. And then we can definitely,
I'm
Talk
just
about it more.
in thinking just from, I just think there's other workarounds that wouldn't require us to make those types of changes for others up front. I think we've got a good program in place. And I think, everybody so far, not everybody obviously has been able to take advantage of it, but I think there's probably another couple ideas that we could talk to Mary Jo about that wouldn't require us to do that, because I'm not sure, and I know I'm just one person, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with changing that. It wasn't part of what we had discussed up front.
there was a discussion that you did have regarding this as a potential way of dispersing the grant funds. I just do not remember, without going back and looking at the minutes or the video, to how y'all actually came out on that. Do any of you remember, we're talking about that? I'm
No,
gonna say, I think Director Mijares was kind of on point when we were talking about this.
Yeah, and I remember, and I think that the main question is that create a logistical nightmare for the city in payment to a third-party contractor.
A little bit more work, but I don't see it as being.
Too difficult,
We have
yeah.
to issue a reimbursement to somebody,
Right.
so as long as we have their W-9 and. It's really the same.
so what if that contractor walked and didn't do the work and you got his down payment, then who does that fall on?
I don't think we can do a down payment as part of this because it's a reimbursement base, so I don't.
Right.
But that's what that would be though, basically would be a down payment, that's what we're talking about, right?
The city,
no.
that check is down payment, would have to follow the grant guidelines of having that completed work with a completed narrative.
Yep, correct.
So that would not be an option.
But that's what you're asking for, isn't it?
No, just asking that it be reimbursed without, she needs to have the work be done, but without paying the contractor to do it.
So really, it's a contractor issue. It's not really an issue for us. It's finding a contractor that will work with her. It's really not an issue
Yeah,
of our grant program.
Yeah, and I would have to redo the grant agreement where there was a provision that allowed for the city to actually pay the contractor as, basically a pass-through.
But it's the same thing as paying her as a pass-through.
That's my
We're-
next
we're
point
saying-
was, yeah,
But
if you would, it would still be basically the same outcome because we would have to wait until the work was done. We would have to get the receipts showing what the cost was. And we would either pay her and she would turn around and pay the contractor, or we'd pay the contractor directly through the grant disbursement. But yeah, it starts to become a little bit more of a logistics issue.
It does, and my concern would be that we're gonna have to vet the work as well, right? And so now we become this intermediary that says, oh, well, you did or you didn't do it to spec, and
it kind of goes, it puts us more involved in it than we want to be.
Yeah.
We don't want to be that third wheel or get in front of it, right? We wanted to let people kind of do as,
well,
and we had talked about that. And that was even one of the points that you brought, and I'm not throwing it back at you, but that was one of the points that was brought up.
yeah.
We want as little involvement as possible.
Well, and I totally agree. Let's
Yeah.
not complicate things. But I would like to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
To make sure that
Yeah.
she can receive some funds.
Sure.
And move on.
I think there's some workarounds. We'll discuss it. And then if you would like to look into it too and come back at us with your ideas, possibly,
Of course.
that would be great.
And also with the size of that building and the possible price point, we might want to touch base with her and see if there's other viable options for her
Yeah.
and kind of maybe,
Well, to Jerry's point, she could just do part of it.
in a private
yeah,
manner, yeah.
yeah, because I
that's
think this is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Good point. Well,
Okay.
I like Mary Jo. We'll see what we can do. Even if I didn't like her, we'd see what we could do.
Yeah, right.
Are there any other board members that have anything they'd like to bring up? Any new board members have any questions or anything you'd like to bring up? No? Thanks again for being here. Josh, not that you haven't had the floor enough, but now it's, oh, I have one thing, I do have one thing that I didn't see on here, you and I discussed, and perhaps I just missed it. I got this request for a grant, a TIF reimbursement from, and I was supposed to turn it in. So apparently I'm supposed to check my mail.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was getting mail. This is, I know, it's from Purple Mountain Hospitality. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I didn't even, when somebody handed me a pile of mail, it's from the 8th month of 23. Like there's mail that old, so somebody has been picking up a long time. So today I'll stop by, because I was told to stop by once a month now to get the mail. Do I turn this into you then, Josh, and then you will take it from there? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think the way we have it set up is that it should be going to Aaron, city manager. He's going to review it. He checks everything. He sends it to our
Yeah.
office for a final
Yes,
look over. Yeah.
Chair, the treasurer, and the attorney.
and I apologize to these people. I didn't even know. It's like, I saw an email about it, I'm like, oh crud, I better check. And sure enough, it was in that. I'm telling you, there's stuff from the 8th month of 2023 in there from. So it's been that long since somebody's checked that mail. And that wasn't me then. I'm just, anyway. I'll take responsibility for it.
So a question on that request, John, is it work that's been completed or work that could be upcoming? Or-
It's a TIF reimbursement.
Oh, just a request for reimbursement for
Yeah.
something in place.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
TIF,
yeah.
deal. It's a TIF agreement that was set up by the previous DDA members.
Understood.
And Josh will check, obviously, if their taxes are, this is all on Josh now. He's the numbers guy from here.
Aaron.
Aaron, excuse me. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. You did get grief, huh?
So on my report, really, I mean, first, I just want to say thank you to city staff, Kimberly, Anita especially for helping out a whole lot and doing a lot of work when it comes to the grant program.
Yes.
It's been extremely helpful. We've done a lot of checking back and forth, and there's a lot of logistics that are involved when it comes to keeping files up and making sure that everything's moving forward smoothly as possible. And they've done a great job. Coming forward, we're going to start having those final reports coming in. So, we're working out the logistics on that. And again, very much appreciative of all the work that y'all are doing. The other thing is it's coming up to budget season. It's always fun. So that'll be one thing that we'll be probably starting to look at and consider at the next meeting will be the DDA's budget for 2026. We've had a few supplements that have occurred this year. It's always good if we can try to get a good idea of what the budget will be and get funds appropriated accordingly, so we don't have as many amendments going forward. But that'll be something we'll start to be considering and discussing at the next meeting.
When you say we, who does that really fall on?
Well, typically the board will be discussing, some of its planned expenditures for the next year. If you wanted to do another grant program, we'll cover TIF ideas and agreements. There's TIF money that comes in, so talking about what kind of projects might be available for the board and the DDA itself actually to be contributing to for, the improvement of the downtown city area. So it'll be those kind of discussions.
Aaron, will you be leading that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's happened in the past for the last 10 years is essentially they take the previous year's budget and they just roll it over. The thing is, we need to have a discussion if you want any changes, if you want any amendments, if you want any line items to be moved around.
Yeah.
So, all right, yeah. And then are we still assuming under the assumption that because from what I've been told, DDA was originally put in place to sell the property that was the old rodeo grounds, which now Tava Group is developing. And so just in a few conversations that I've had, it was said that DDA is no longer needed, that the mission has been completed. So that being said, is there still a feeling from maybe the city council that DDA would be sunset in 2032? Is it too early to have that discussion? And I think that needs to be part of the discussion, because if we would like to have some new business come in, and I don't know how to make that happen, but we do have some vacancies and some spots where we'd like some new business to come in, we still need to offer them an incentive. And so we need to look at that. If we're going to sunset in 2032, then we need to make sure that if we do make any new TIF deals, that those can be paid out of the funds that we have now and are going to be getting in the future by 2032. Is that correct thinking?
Exactly. It's a broader conversation needs to happen between DDA board, city council. I need some community input from that, but yeah, that's exactly the conversation we need to start having.
We do need to start having that. Okay.
Yeah, it seems to me that we probably could preface our budget with that 5-year to 2032 view. What does this look like, right? And then we begin the actual, okay, so what are we gonna do in 2026?
Right.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is there will be not a surplus, but there will be a bottom line amount or top line amount that's there that we'd like to make sure that we expend back to the community before the sunset happens. Otherwise, yes, and making sure, and I do believe that our loan's gonna be paid just in a couple of years. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, John, excuse me, just comes to mind, excuse me, that, the DDA is here to be able to offer incentives to development and beautification and all that. But is it necessary to do away with the DDA? Maybe they could just have a quieter role or an inactive period, but they're still there in order to, in case they're needed,
I don't know. That's part of the discussion.
Yeah, and there's state statutes that really control how the DDA can operate and how long,
Gotcha.
and what the board members are made up of. If we extend past certain, timelines. So all of that has to come into consideration as well.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
And that was all for my report.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody caught this, but we do have an executive session that we need to go into this morning. It shouldn't be long, but I have to read this, so. So we found it yet, so.
We always saw it.
Okay. So I'll read it verbatim, correct? Better not skip anything.
Starting with the I move, correct?
Yeah.
Motion.
Okay. I move to go into, if anybody wants to leave, they don't have to be here. If you don't want to stay, I get it. I move to go into executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402 4B for purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions and CRS section 24-6-402 4E for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and or instructing negotiators related to a request by Tava House Properties, LLC, to subordinate the performance deed of trust to the proposed construction financing for the Woodland Station project to be finalized with Part State Bank and Trust.
Is there a second?
Second.
And then we're gonna go for a roll call.
Yes.
Good, yes.
Cabrera, yes.
Gamelke, yes.
Miharis, yes?
Jones, yes.
Salazar, yes.
All right, thank you. We are now adjourned to the executive session, which is going to be in this back room over here.
Does anybody need a potty break in before we go? We all good to go? Huh? Good, these